Hey there and welcome. So, chances are, if you're watching this, your check engine light is glaring at you, and a little code scanner just spit out this mysterious number, U0101. Well, don't worry, we're going to break down exactly what that means, and more importantly, what you can do about it. So, what is your car trying to tell you with this code? It's not just some random string of characters, believe me. You can think of it like a distress signal. A really important conversation between two of your car's most critical computers has just gone silent. And here it is, the official definition. U0111 means lost communication with the transmission control module, or TCM for short. Basically, your car's main brain, the engine control unit, or ECU, can no longer get a signal from the TCM. And the TCM? That's the brain of your automatic transmission. It's what tells it exactly when to shift gears. When that connection gets cut, your car's behavior can change a lot, and usually pretty fast. But hang on, how do these computers even talk to each other in the first place? To really get what's gone wrong, we first have to understand how they're supposed to work together. Think of it like a tiny, super-fast computer network running all throughout your car. This network has a name. It's called the CAN bus. And the best way to think about it is as your car's central nervous system. It lets all the different computer modules, everything from the engine to the transmission to the brakes, constantly chatter and share information. The TCM is a huge player in this network, and when it suddenly goes quiet, the main computer throws up a red flag, and that's what logs the U0101 code. So let's talk about how this all looks in the real world. What are the symptoms you can actually see and feel when you're behind the wheel? I'm willing to bet you're experiencing at least one of these. The most obvious, of course, is that check engine light. Your car might also suddenly feel like it has no power. That's called limp mode, and it's basically the car protecting itself from further damage. You'll definitely notice shifting problems. It might slam into gear, feel sluggish, or just get stuck in one gear completely. And another dead giveaway? A blank gear indicator on your dash. Okay, so what's actually causing this communication meltdown? Let's put on our detective hats and start our investigation. We'll begin with the simple, common stuff before we dive into the more complicated possibilities. First up, power. Yeah, it sounds basic, but your car's computers are super sensitive. They need a perfectly steady supply of voltage to work right. A dying battery or a weak alternator can cause dips and spikes in that power, which can make a module like the TCM totally freak out or just shut down, triggering that U0101 code. Next on our list is another simple but absolutely critical checkpoint, the fuse box. A single, tiny blown fuse that sends power to the TCM or the main computer can sever that communication link in an instant. Seriously, this is a 5-minute check that could save you hours and a massive diagnostic headache. Now, this quote really hits the nail on the head because the most common cause of a U0101 code is, unfortunately, also the trickiest one to hunt down, a problem somewhere in the wiring. That physical connection is where things go wrong all the time. We could be looking at a connector that's gotten corroded and isn't making good contact anymore. Or maybe some wires have frayed from years of vibration. Or, and this happens more than you think, chewed by a rodent. A loose plug is a huge one, and so is fluid, an oil or transmission leak that seeps into a connector and messes everything up. And finally, you could have a short or a break somewhere along those critical CAN bus data lines. And of course, there's always the chance that the transmission control module itself has just given up. While it definitely happens, it's actually way less common than a simple power or wiring problem. That's why it is so important to rule everything else out before you jump to conclusions and start pricing out a new module. All right, so now that we know all the possible suspects, let's lay out a clear step-by-step game plan for you to troubleshoot this code. This is your diagnostic roadmap. Always start with the basics. Step 1, test your battery and alternator. Make sure that power supply is solid. Step 2, grab your owner's manual, find the right fuses for the TCM and ECU, and check them. Step 3, get a flashlight and give that wiring harness a good visual inspection for anything obvious. Step 4, if you see a dirty connector, clean it. Sometimes just unplugging it and plugging it back in does the trick. Now, these last 2 steps, testing the CAN bus wires and trying a reset, they get a little more advanced, and you'll need special tools, like a multimeter or a pro-level scan tool. Which brings us to a really important question. How much of this can you actually do yourself in the driveway? And when is it time to just call in a professional? This chart breaks it all down for you. Checking the battery, pulling fuses, cleaning connectors, and just looking at the wiring, those are all things most DIYers can totally handle. But when it comes to testing the complex CAN bus wiring for electrical faults or actually replacing and reprogramming the TCM, well, that requires specialized gear and know-how. Those jobs are definitely best left to a pro. So let's sum it all up. The U0101 code means your transmission's brain has gone offline. It sounds scary, I know, but a lot of the time, the fix is pretty simple. The biggest takeaway here should be to always start your search with the easiest, most common fixes first. Check your power, check your fuses. More often than not, that's where you'll find your problem. So there you have it. By following a logical path from the simple stuff to the more complex, you've got a solid plan to tackle this U0101 code. You know who the likely culprits are, and you know the steps to investigate them. So the only question left is, are you ready to solve the case?